Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the second day of two-day workshop on advanced application of remote sensing and GIS in civil engineering. I am Rachna Bajaj from Department of Civil Engineering, Rabindranath Tagore University. It's my proud privilege to welcome you all and to inaugurate this workshop. I would like to invite our head of the department, Civil Engineering, Mr. Kapil Soni, to say few words. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you, madam. Thank you very much. Hello and good afternoon, everyone. I welcome all the participants and faculty members in the second technical session of this workshop, Advanced Application of GIS and Remote Sensing in Civil Engineering. With warm greetings, I heartily welcome our today's resource person, Dr. Pramod Dubey, sir. I am thankful to you for accepting our invitation and taking time for us. And I expect that in future also we will be connected through such types of events. Thank you very much, sir, for coming. With these words, I request Professor Rachna Bajaj, madam, for further proceeding. Thank you, madam.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now proceeding further, on this auspicious occasion, we have a dynamic personality, Mr. Pramod Dubey, as a resource person. I would like to have a brief introduction about him. He is currently working as a superintendent of GIS in School of Planning and Architecture, SPA Bhopal. SPA is established by the Government of India, Ministry of Education, as an institute of national importance. He has done his BSc and MSc in geology from Upper College, DAVV, Indore. Please, please mute yourself. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Sunil sir, okay.
He has done MSc Tech in geology from Barkatullah University, Bhopal. He has completed his doctorate in geology from Barkatullah University, Bhopal. He is having more than 17 years of experience in industry and government sector. He has many national and international publications. He is working as a project associate in different national projects like NRIS, land use and land cover mapping of Madhya Pradesh, and NUIS, that is National Urban Information System, city mapping of Madhya Pradesh. Now, I heartily request Dr. Pramod sir to enlighten us with his valuable knowledge. Please, sir, over to you. No, sir, no voice. Sir, no voice is there. No audible, not audible.
Actually,
please unmute yourself, sir. Unmute yourself.
Now?
No, sir, no, audible, sir. Please proceed.
Okay, thank you very much for this introduction. Here I am to present our presentation on the remote sensing GIS to how to use and civil engineering.
Yeah.
So this is my slide.
Yeah, please share your slides, sir.
Yes, sure. One second. Now my slide is visible?
Yeah, sir, please full preview. Yeah, sir, it's okay now.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, sir, please proceed.
Okay. So thank you very much for the inviting me for the lecture of the advanced application of remote sensing and GIS in civil engineering. So here I am from the SPA Bhopal, introduced by the map. We are dealing with the planning architecture of masters and bachelor students and doctorate also. So we are starting in 2008, as madam said. So we are in the National Important Institute. We have 3 institutes, one in Delhi, second in Bhopal, and third one is our Vijayawada. So here we start the presentation. So overview of this presentation is that we have divided in this presentation for a 3 part. One, the understanding of keywords. Second one is GIS process. And third one, how to use our applications in civil engineering with the help of the remote sensing and GIS techniques. Okay. Now, our keyword is mainly depend on GIS. GIS means Geographic Information System. convert the three part: geographic, information, and system. I cover up the briefly on it. We don't go to the further detail because further yesterday lecture, I think madam has covered most of the things. So we are covering the GIS lecture, how to use in our applications. So we are covering up the basic things. So in geography means earth-related data, how to use the land use, land covers, buildings, nalas, roads, and man-made feature of bridge and other things. Okay, and information means how kind of software you use and how type of software, how type of data, special data, non-special data are you use. So in this information context, what type of data you are using on it, we are working on this. And system, the number of persons, the persons who are the technical persons, they are involved in a single work. If any kind of applications or any kind of work, you involve the persons. This is the system involved by the GIS, Geographic Information System. For the geographic, they are mainly for the natural features and man-made features. So earth-related natural features are greenery, land, water, air, pollution, etc. And man-made feature, we are drafting it on a GIS software like building, bridges, canal, dam, road alignment, road, path, and other features man-made by the persons. So in GIS, the themes or layers are very important because whatever in the world or in the natural feature, we are access them with the help of the satellite data. So in this context, this is very important to how to extract the data from the satellite or from the real world. So whatever data available in the field, how to extract, like in this slide, you see there is the one natural feature is there, the building is there, ground is there, trees are there, road are there. So how to extract the extract of the theme of building? It means you create one theme and you have to extract or drafting only the buildings. Thereafter, you have to also survey by the total station of DGPS. You have to generate the elevation data. So you build with the elevation data. Next, you go for a road. Third one, vegetation. So in n number of layer or themes you are created, converted in a shapefile or your design form. This is important you to what is your purpose of work, what you want to do. So this is very clear in your mind. And then after you start the working and you separated the themes, layers by one. And then these themes and other theme overlay in each other and create a analysis. And your desired result is obtained. Okay. So next one. So information. The information is required to assist the decision making. Information, the two type of information we require in GIS data. One is spatial data and second is non-spatial data. Spatial data means raster data and vector data. Raster data come from the satellite data in the form of map, in the form of archival data, or in the form of the survey. In a survey from the DGPS, survey from the total station. So whatever data, spatial data come from the two types, vector and raster. So raster from the satellite data and vector from drafting of the raster data. So this spatial data is raster and vector, and non-spatial data. Non-spatial data means you are a database from the Excel, database from the other tabular format data, non-spatial data from the survey on the paperwork. So all this data come from the paperwork, Excel data and survey data is come in the non-spatial data. And with the integrated, all the data are working together in the GIS. This is the specialty of GIS. They are working with the maps and background data. This is the beauty of the GIS because we all know AutoCAD, we are only drafting. Okay, this is AutoCAD is a drafting software, but GIS is a drafting software. Plus, this is a non-spatial data carrying capacity. So in AutoCAD, we are a draft the building, road, or everything, but you have to change the color, hedge, and everything. But if you want to attach the data, if I want to name the data in behind the in one polygon, a number of information I want to add. So it is not possible to enter the background data in AutoCAD, but now in GIS we add multiple data in a number of columns in our GIS softwares. Okay, next. If anyone, any type of confusion or any type of question, you feel free to ask me in between the presentation. It is no problem. Okay. Thereafter, the spatial data raster. What is the raster? Raster is the image format. It is coming from the satellite data. It is coming from the aerial photograph. It is coming from the other topo sheet maps or other things. So it is important to understand what is the digital satellite raster data or what is the normal raster data. So when the data come from the satellite, they have the special DN numbers. Every pixel have their own DN numbers, digital numbers. So we have to process in our image processing software. So this is the digital image. And then other than we have to use other images like TIFF, JPG, BMP is a normal image file. So sometimes my students are very confused. They want to process the data and classification of data and they use the JPG. But so why not we do on this? I always said this is the normal JPG data. They have the color information on it. That you see this one image is the JPG image and second is a grayscale digital image. So this is the only color information. But if this image have their own digital DN number, every pixel have 0 to 256. Every pixel has their own digital numbers. So this is a difference about the simple image and digital image. Okay. So in simple image, they have the color of 3 bands, red, green, blue. But if you work on a digital image, it's look like if you work on a list 3 data, you have a band of 4, red, green, blue, and infrared. You have 4 band of data. If you work on a Landsat data, you have the 7 data. They have the infrared data, they have night vision data. There are so many different layers and data is there in the digital image. But a simple image, they have only the 3 band color image, the CMYK or red, green, blue information. But in digital raster data, you have the bands, the infrared band, you have the red band, you have the blue band, you have the green band, you have the other bands are available. So different image, different bands are there. Okay, and monochromatic image, you have the grayscale. The single band image is there. Okay. Next, for the vector, we are talking about previous slide about raster data, information data. Now the vector data of GIS, understanding of vector types and type of vector data. This is very important for the working of the GIS because GIS layer start with the data type. Because you enter the GIS software, you start the drafting, create a layer. You once go to option and create layer. They're asking what type of data you want to work. Point data, line data, or polygon data. Without giving this information, you not create a layer or shapefile in GIS. So before the working of GIS software or any GIS software, or like ArcGIS, IRDAS, MapInfo, GeoMedia, QGIS, any GIS software, first you understand the data, what type of geometric data you require or you want to work. If I want to work on a well location marking, city place marking, monuments and other things, this pole data marking. So we are work on a point data. Okay. So you in point data, you not work in drainage line, road. No. For specific point locations, we need to create a layer of point. Then after the second layer, if you work on a road line, if you work on a road, rail, topographic feature like contour and other river line features, linear feature, if you create or digitize any linear feature, so you create a layer of geometric type of line. And then after, if you want in the line feature, you are only the line feature, the length area. If you create a point, the point, they have information of X and Y, the location information. If you create a line, you have an internal information of the length. If you draw the any line area, so you automatically in the background data, their information is available that how much line, the 1 kilometer, 2 kilometer, 1 meter, half meter, then information is readily available in GIS background data. So line feature on a length in a meter, kilometer, anything. For if you work on an area basis work, or you like work in a lake, park, building, city boundary, other boundaries, land use, land cover maps. So this type of map or creation, you use the polygon feature. In polygon feature, automatically they have all area are available. If you right click open the attribute data of any polygon, you automatically every polygon, each area is automatically added by the GIS software. And the unit decided by you, if you want in a meter, if you want in a square meter, if you want in a square kilometer, if you want in a hectare, if you want in an acre, whatever your requirement. So this is the primary work or guideline of the GIS software, because GIS work in a 3 geometric feature. One is the point, second is the line, and third one is a polygon. This is the basic concept of GIS. You are starting the work in GIS. So this is the main geometric feature for the GIS working. Okay. So difference of raster and vector. So raster data, before I'm checking, they have the raster data digital numbers. It means, can I add the data background in a raster? No. Raster, we not add the data in a raster format. But yes, we add the data, non-spatial data in a vector format. If I want add the data in vector building lines, n number of population data in a ward boundary or a building, if I want to add the population data, so I add this population data by year wise in a vector data, but it is not possible in a raster data. Raster data, they have own digital numbers. So this is a basic difference about the raster data and vector data. This is, I am not add any kind of special data, non-special data in this, but yes, I link and join the n number of polygons, n number of Excel data or columns in a non-special in a vector data. So in a next slide, raster data and vector data that you see in an image. One side we have the raster data that clearly digitized by the next in a vector data in a red form. If you see in the raster data, there is a grayscale data. I am drafting in a GIS format. If you see in a GIS format, this red buildings, the draftsman or the person who drafting this is a very clearly marking all the features. Like this is the park, this is the river, this is the road line, this is the building feature, this is the contour. So I'm extracting the one single bare image in a multiple feature line, polygon and a point with the different colors. So this is the basic difference of raster and vector. Vector data created by this raster, but in a totally different form. The same feature are reflecting, but this is the open for aid of any kind of non-spatial data. If you click on this building, the building information come in a tabular format, or everything add in this vector data. So once you create a vector data from the image work is over. Then after you start the analysis, adding the data, further symbology of different kind of colors and different type of as per your requirement. Okay. Next one, system. This system is components. The components need the hardware, software, data, and peoples. Hardware means you need a computer, one high-tech computer. They have the RAM, good RAM with graphic card, with the monitor of normal to bigger size. So, and the software means you need the special software of GIS, like in the present time we have the GIS software like ArcGIS, MapInfo, IRDAS, Idrisi, and the open source software of QGIS. So we need the special softwares of GIS for the working on it with the installed in the hardware. Data means we need the satellite data. We working on it because the satellite data, raster data is the basic thing to input the data, and the archival maps like topo sheet, revenue maps, maps, and any other older map. If you require scan copy, the scan copy, the data is required. The people means the same our person is expert, the person who know the how to work in hardware computer and how to work in a GIS software and how to use the different type of data in a software. So these four things are mainly required in the main computer component of this GIS working. So in GIS process, the main thing of any kind of analysis, what is important? Data capture, data process, data integration, data analysis, and data generation. In data capture, as earlier we discussed, satellite, aerial photograph, and survey. The data come from this site. And data process. Data process means if you have the satellite data, if they have not projection, so you're going to be project. They have some corrections of any kind of fog related or alignment related. So you have to image processing software you use to corrections on your image. And georeferencing. Georeferencing, we are discussing next slide to how to reference your map in the frame of Earth. So how to, what is the process? It is called is the georeferencing. And then convergence. So if once you all these things, you convert to raster to vector to different format. Like if you give your data to any CAD person, so you convert your data in a DXF. If you give this data to any GIS person, so you convert in a shapefile. Or if you give any DGPS person, so you convert your data in Genesis. So these conversions also work and done by the GIS software. Then data integration. Once you create different themes, layers, shapefiles, or other component, how to integrate the non-spatial data with their vector data or spatial data. Then data analysis. So this is the depend on your requirement, what kind of analysis if you want. There are the many number of analysis are done by the GIS software. For the every field specific analysis are done by the GIS software. If you are civil engineer, so for your purpose, they have some modules are there for the environmentalists, for the geologist, for the hydrologist, for the other person who work in economic person, they also work on it. They use the economic data and every specific specialization person use their analysis on their basis. So some specific analysis are there, the spatial analysis, the overlay, buffer, proximity, or 3D analysis. These are the common analysis tools available in the GIS software, and every specific specialist are use these tools in their own study. And data generation. Once you create a data, compile the data, analysis the data, and now after the analysis, you have to display your data. On the display of data in the form of PDF, in the form of layout, in the form of query. If you once a data special convert, then you have to query. If you in 1,000 of polygons, if you want a restricted polygon, you just draw the query and the result is displayed with you. Because we are normal naked eye, we not to use specify the specific polygon, but 4, 5 layers, 10 layers you merge in a one format, and then after you query, I want to 500 elevation, 500 200 elevation building on this soil or this geology. So this happens with the query, and the data is come in the different layer. So they extract the buildings from of your requirement. So this type of queries and analysis done by the GIS softwares. Next, for data capturing, now the term is very known is the remote sensing, because any kind of data capturing with the remote sensing is the main component. So in the earlier stage, when the scientists are involved how to data capture, because in ancient times there's so many things they are using on these photographs. You see in the one bird is used with the camera, and then after they are using this camera, they're capturing the images, they're using, and then the main thing is because in our eyes are the restricted for the area, but for the analysis they are the synaptic coverage are requirement. The one point single layer large area is covered. For this, the remote sensing are available, and their sensors and the satellite data are used. So for remote sensing, synaptic coverage, repetitive data collections, cost effective or processing. So they are using so many platforms. Once you see with the birds, once you see the hot air balloon, then different platforms use time by time. Then after we are coming on this advanced stage. Now presently we are using the different kind of platforms, like in spaceborne platform, in aircraft. In aircraft, they are dividing in a 3-part: high altitude, medium altitude, low altitude, and they are in the ground surface. You have the ground surface, you use your radar, lidar, drones. So this is the platform they are using of different satellite and data capturing sensors in their platform. The infrared sensors, they are the normal sensors, they are the night vision sensors. Okay, so this is a different platform of remote sensing, and this is the process. Normally we are working on the remote sensing on a natural light satellite, capturing the data with the images. Every satellite their own coverage data. Some satellite covers the 300 kilometers, some satellite covers the 10 kilometers, some satellite cover the 1 kilometer, and repeatedly some satellite come with the one place in a 20 days, some satellite comes in a 2 days, after 2 days. So this is the one process involved in remote sensing. They are satellite receiving from the ground coverage, then ground receive station, then we have the digital analysis by the systems, then visual analysis, then you have the product. And same the aerial photographs. If your own requirement, I need the survey, high resolution survey of Bhopal. I not want to work of satellite data because their resolution is restricted by the 0.5 meter or 1 meter, but I want to the resolution in a centimeters, millimeters. Then how to use the aerial photographs? So this aerial photograph, the camera is capable to sense the image with the 2D and 3D both. So in aerial photograph, we have to come with the data, with the stereo data and high resolution of centimeter resolutions. Okay, so this is the basic platforms and data capturing platforms. Now, so in our Indian satellite has a very good sensors, and with the all are working with the 1988. Our first satellite, as you see here, IRS-1A, is launched by the 17th March 1988. And this is the almost 19 satellite launched by the, this is only the resource satellite, remote sensing satellite. Other communication satellite are not including on this. I am including only the satellite that is the remote sensing data, capturing the remote sensing data, and they are using our community in the last from 1988 to till 2018. So our first satellite IRS-1A, the satellite image is resolution is 88 meters. Then after they are working time by time, and the launch almost come from the Cartosat 2F, means the first satellite launched by 1998 and the resolution 88 meters, and now the satellite launched in 12 January 2018. The resolution of satellite is the less than 1 meter. Now we have the world most high resolution data available in India to produce by the Indian satellite, and we are giving the other countries sharing this data. So this is our IAS satellite data's launching of different list 3 data from IS-1C, Cartosat data, PEN data. So different satellite giving updation of their time by time. So we have this program launched by the ISRO from 1988 to till present time. And you also seen in our last 1.5 year or 2 years some films of Mission Mangal, Uri, and they use this kind of satellite data in our defense, because nowadays our defense are very good use of the satellite data in different purposes of mapping of cave. They are the drafting their caves for the purpose of how to monitor the activity of the militants and other persons. So they are very rigorously used by the defense of the satellite data. Now, in ground-borne platform, there is a 3 platform are readily we are used the radar in past times. Now LIDAR and UAV. Radar is the radio detection and the ranging is object with the multiple works of the high altitude data, direction, speed, both moving and fixed object, and the LIDAR. This is now new work with this high altitude 30 centimeter. The horizontal vertical data is around the 10 to 15 centimeter, and horizontal data 30 to 60 centimeter. So this is very good data come from the radar. You just kept on your car, then moving around the city, and you got the data from the LIDAR. Easy way without disturbing any person. Now, recently we are using the UAV, unmanned aerial vehicle. They are known as a drone. This is a very simple or very effective used by everyone for the small area survey without disturbing any person. Now, this is the legal bonding are there, but if you want permission from Government of India, then you survey with this. So this is the 3 platform ground-borne platform used by on your hand. This by your hand, you have to use in your requirement on the survey or data capturing of your requirements. Now, the data capturing from the survey methods. This one, the conventional method, we are using so many survey civil purposes, a chain survey, and now the laser distrometer. So many persons are now used by the laser distrometer. We have also in our survey lab, we have the 5 distrometers. The student used by the laser beam, and the beam is touched by any object. The reading is available on the meter. So this is the very good things to our architect student to go and collect the data from in single room or high altitude. The range is meters to the 100 meters. So you use this distrometer for the length calculations. So our students are use distrometers on this time. And now electronic surveys. The electronic survey total stations and the GPR and the global position system. Total station, now everyone know, you are the civil department, you have the total station of the robotic and non-robotic. You use the data from the total station, and this is the surface data. If you want the data from beneath the surface, so we use the ground penetrating radar, GPR. GPR used for the underground data. If you have the GPR, the GPR machines are collecting the data beneath the earth. If any kind of civil works, if you want to search how much pipelines, how much diameter pipelines are beneath the area, how much length of these pipelines, or what kind of strata of geology strata or soil strata are in the beneath the soil, beneath the earth surface, you have to use the GPR. So many civil projects, before the starting, this GPR survey is done by so many agencies. Then GPS, global positioning system. This is the two type of GPS. One handheld GPS, the resolution is around the 10 meters. And if you want to work on the millimeters, so this is the DGPS, the differential global positioning system. So you use the DGPS for millimeter level accuracy or accuracy DGPS, and for the meters accuracy you need the GPS. Okay, this is the survey technique used by the different purposes. Now, if you start the work on the ArcGIS or any other softwares, I'm here to include the AutoCAD and GIS. Once you work on a GIS software, you need to know which area you have to work. See, this is the projection system is required for any layer creation. Once you are creating the layer on the point or line feature or polygon feature, first they're asking what kind of geometry you want. Then after the second question, they're asking in which projection you want to work. So different projections are there for different places. So in our India, if you see in a slide, this is the UTM zones are available here. It means for the whole globe, the UTM WGS 84, the system divided by the whole globe. Then you see the world that 1 to 70 is the whole divided by the imaginary line of the longitude. In our India, we have the UTM zone number of 42 to 46. It means if I want to work on a Bhopal, so I want to add the zone 43. And I want to work on a Jabalpur or UP place, so I want to adjust the data of 44, UTM zone 44. So this is the very important to know how to use the data of WGS84 in our layer system. So if we are not use this data in a projection system in our layer, so what happens? It means if the proper projection not applied by in a layers, though some shape distortions are there, area distortions are there, some distance, it means they change the projection and change the distance. If the road length is 1 kilometer, if your projections are changed, so the distance are vary, because every projection system have their own limitations. So projections are very important in GIS. Once you work in AutoCAD, you insert the image in a 1:1, and then after you scale the image, without scaling the image, AutoCAD is not giving proper area and line length in your drawing. That's why in GIS, without proper information of projection, you not do any kind of work, proper error-free work. Then data processing, if you change the projection, you change the shape also. So if you work in GIS platform, your projection coordinate system of your place know is very important. Okay. Now the image resolutions. So now you see the different resolution. We have the different elements. Now you are seeing the every 56 meters resolution data. Now you have to see the properly the broad view of the vegetation, barren land, rivers, lines, and some this line feature that I am identify that what is this is a railway or this is a road or this is a canal, that I'm not differentiate. But once I'm change the resolutions 56 to 56 to 24 meter. Now I'm more clarity are visible clarity are going on. In 56, you see the I am only the broad view is available. Now I'm change the image, the same, the area is same, resolution is changed. So I am seeing very clearly that this is the something the canal, this is the river, and this is the vegetation. Okay. Then I increase my resolutions. Now I'm going to be in a list for 6 meter data. Now the area is same. If you check, this is the canal on this image in every data, and this is also the canal of this. This is the one canal, and this is the one canal in list 324 meter data. Now I'm change the same area, change the resolution, and more visible the pure canal of this area. Yeah, this image is come from this area. Okay, so I'm here to see the joining of the canals. This is a bigger canal, and there is the tributary, the second canal. Okay, now I want to more clear data if I want. So I change the also different resolutions. This one. Now I'm more clear. I'm going to make QuickBird data 2.5 meter resolution. Now, if you see, this is the joining of the canals. I'm going to 6 meter to 2.5 meter. Okay, I'm clearly visible the canals and other things. I also see some trees. This is a different vegetations are there. This is a fallow land. These are some building and warehouse. This is a water body. I'm clearly seen on this. Change the resolution and my elements recognitions capability are increased. Then I'm also increase one more time resolutions. Now I'm going to make cartographic data, 65 centimeter data. Now what I'm saying, I'm counting the tree also. Okay, I'm going to 56 meter to 2.5 meter to 1 meter. Okay, now I'm really visible. This is the gate of water body to canal to divert the water. Okay, to here, our element recognitions are the increased by the satellite data resolutions. Now, I'm going to one more change to 1 meter. This is the image going to be sub-meters. Okay, so I'm clearly visible. This is I'm clearly visible the canopy of this tree, and these are clearly visible of the gate. I'm also see the one car is going to be near this canals. Okay, this is the car. So how you change the resolutions? So your capability of interpretation of image and element of recognition of the different natural surface, you have to see. 56 meter, I'm not able to see the this kind of things, but in a sub-meters resolution, I am see the everything. This is a pool, this is a gate, this is a tree, this is a car, this. So this is the basic thing of the resolution. How to change, create by one. This area is same, but I'm change the images on a same area. My interpretation capability are increased, and everything is going to. But one thing you will observe that in 156 meter, I have a broader view. This is I have covered the almost one city. Once I increase my resolution, but the area are shrink. Whenever I increase my resolution, the area and image by shrink. Okay, the area is smaller. If your resolution is high, your area of image are closer. Okay, this is one of the example. In the low resolutions, this type of thing are there. This is the scrubland. In high resolution, the clearly not boundary bounded this image, the same area. I'm not bounded where is the starting of scrub line and where is the starting of the fallow line. But now in the high resolution data, I'm totally draft the area that this is the scrub area and this is the fallow line. Okay, so this is the difference to resolutions. Now, the processing. Once you are create in a process, the coordinate system is very important. And the GIS, the coordinate, two type of coordinate system are work. One is a geographic coordinate system. Second is a projected coordinate system. In geographic coordinate system, if you want in work in a DM, so you have to use the geographic coordinate system because the area is larger. But if you work in a building level work, so you are use the projected coordinate system. The measure of the length and angle are uniform. In a geographic coordinate system, your Z value is accurate, but the length are not being calculated in a geographic coordinate system. So, your requirement, if you calculate on the 3D analysis, so you use this geographic coordinate system, or if you use the railroad or mapping or any other measurement level work, so you use the projected coordinate system. So for the data processing in GIS, the geo-referencing is very important. The geo-referencing with the reference your image with the reference of Earth. It means if you have any image of any city, if you scale the image, you have to reference with the X and Y. So X is the latitude and Y is the longitude. This is help to scale the image. Once you are a civil engineer, insert the image in your AutoCAD. This is 0 to 0 means 1 to 1. So in here in GIS, we insert the image with the help of latitude or longitude. Okay. Now the drafting is there. This image have to mark the different layers of buildings. If you see the roads are there, black line, yellow are the building, and this one is the marking by the contours. So this type of features you are marking this. So once you're drafting the digitization of different element, area, line feature, polygon feature, so some drafting errors are there, distortion error. They are called as undershoot, overshoot. In your AutoCAD also they have the undershoot, overshoot, and the multiple overlay polygons. All this. So GIS have the beauty of to correct the automated of these corrections. In AutoCAD we have to every undershoot, overshoot problem with the manually. But in a GIS, once every select element you select by the 1 mm, so every overshoot you identify the overshoot problems and then increase the length. Then automatically they decrease the overshoot problem. And then once again you start the overshoot problem, undershoot problem. So once you calculate this, so automatically n number of undershoot, overshoot problem you have to automatically dissolve in ArcGIS. Once this other software, they need 1 and 2 or 3 days or multiple person are required. But in GIS, in a single frame, single person, with this applications, you have to reduce the automatically this overshoot, undershoot problems and recognize them very easily in a GIS platform. In the polygon, you have to use the scene that digitized as a polygon, this kind of drafting error, manual drafting error, this kind of polygons errors are found out in any purpose. This increase the errors and they affect the analysis on your analysis. So this is the polygon. This also resolved by the GIS in automated format. This is the beauty of GIS. Once you're not going to be in a manual work, you have to identify the errors first, then you see the errors and what kind of solutions you have to do. This is done by the automated by the softwares. Now, scales in GIS or any platform, the scale is very important. Once we see the resolution in satellite data, now the vector data, the scale is very important. Now in the slide, you see the one platform of 1 to 2500 and second is the 1:5,000. So these two maps clearly visible to 2,500 and 5,000 scale. The difference are clearly visible. They are the more clear, and this is the clear are not very clear. So in a GIS platform, we have to divide the maps in a two scales: the small scale map and the large scale map. Sometimes this is confusion, sir. The number is 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 50,000, 5 lakh, 10 lakh. You call it the small scale, and the large scale you said 1:1,000, 1:2,000, 1:5,000. So it means large scale means in 1:1,000 you have to see or interpret or element in a very large area. But in a small scale map, you have to not clear everything. For the city mapping, vision mapping, you have to use the 2 lakh, 50,000, 5 lakh, 10 lakh scale. So the scale and difference application are different. Now, in our GIS platform, we have to use so many softwares, and every person is not expert in every software. For some of the software are the very commercially and very popular in the GIS field. The one of the softwares I'll describe here, the one of the most popular software, though almost everyone want to work in my time when I'm working on MTech in remote sensing GIS or others. So this is the one software. First is ArcGIS. ArcGIS is the ISRI software, the private firm, NIT software, ArcGIS. And this is very popular and working in a different agency, private and government also. In our institute, we have also this ArcGIS software of 51 licenses of this ArcGIS. So our student have worked on this ArcGIS software. And the second one is IRDAS. IRDAS is the remote sensing image processing software. If you any kind of image processing work want to done in this software, you have to. This is a software capable to done the image processing things of this software. Then after the second GeoMedia. GeoMedia is one of the GIS software used by the many private companies because this is the cheaper one software. That's why this is the many small companies are use this, and the other departments are use this. And this is a very old one. When my teachers are working on GeoMedia, when I'm studying in 2004 in my MTech study B. So that time, this is the licensed software in our institute. We have also in our SPA, we have the 10 number of GeoMedia licenses. And then IDRIS. IDRIS also very old software for image processing software. So many institute of IITs, NITs are using the IDRIS softwares. And the fifth one is the LPS, the Leica photogrammetric suite. It means this LPS software, the studio working 3D analysis work done by this LPS software. It means any kind of studio analysis, studio data, they are using the studio data and create the contours, data analysis, 3D data analysis, and DM corrections, this type of work done by this LPS. And this is the Map Info Professionals. This is the equivalent to the AutoCAD. This is the some features are the similar to the AutoCAD, and Map Info is similar. Some facilities are there in Map Info like query builder, georeferencing, data attaching. This kind of features are available in Map Info. That's why we said this is software is a Map Info software. Okay. Then now present days, there is a very good thing in our GIS field. There were very good open source GIS software are available. Now this is very enriched software. The code is QGIS. This is openly available software. If you want the work on GIS, you not need to purchase high level of work in academic purposes. If your work is academic, if you teaching the student the GIS software, the QGIS is the readily available software. This is a free software. The GIS community, open source community develop this software for the local person who want to work on a small area, small purposes or academic purposes. the all things in almost every tools are available in a QGIS for the mapping, analysis, and other things done by the GIS field. So this is the free GIS, freely open source GIS. So after this, this is a 2-3 software interface. I am introduced to your and your student. This is the interface of the ArcGIS. Okay, you see this software. This is the interface of ArcGIS. This is divided by the 3 platforms. One, this is one interface or interface. One is the window, working window. Then this is called layout or working window, global view. And this, you see this catalog. It means this is the my computer of the ArcGIS. This catalog you have to cut, paste of any kind, save the files, everything. You see, I have saved so many files here, and I have my everything. I see directly from this on catalog, and then after this is our toolbox. So n number of analysis tools are available here. You go for a toolbox, click, and then this is the all tools are available here. And this is the global view. This is our area-based development at North South Titinagar plan, smart city plan developed by our SPA and submitted to the Commissioner of Smart City. So we have developed this project in our GIS lab. So this is our working view. This all layers are, you see, the point layers, location layers that I'm described in our earlier slide. This is line feature of contour. This the master plan. All layers. This is image layers. Everything. Okay, so this is the interface of GIS, ArcGIS. The second software is image processing software. When you see this image processing software, this is called IRDAS. So IRDAS software works on an image. So you see this in this panel. You have all the raster, vector, terrain, toolbox. Everything is there in raster. The panchromatic corrections, drawing, format, tables, everything. So this deals with the raster data and raster analysis, clipping, mosaicing, enhancement, panchromatic analysis, whatever you want and whatever correction you want in a raster, you use this software. Then this is the open source QGIS software. This is this is the interface of QGIS. What is the difference? The difference is this is the global view is like ArcGIS, and then this is the normal tools: save, copy, paste, zoom in, zoom out, cut, paste, layouting, scaling, calculations, everything. And this is the processing tools like vector generations and other things. And this is the one of the beauty of this QGIS is that if you generate your own tool, and if you want to add in this plugin, so you add your plugin in this tool. Once the open source community is rectified, certified, and then your tool is linked on this plugin. So anybody use this plugin and analysis module of use by analysis. So this is by working on the net. So the net connectivity is required once you install the software. If you want any plugin, any open source module, if you want to add in your software, so you just go and add and search the plugin or toolbox and add in this software. So those who not purchase the GIS software, because the one cost of the ArcGIS software is around 20 lakh rupees. We have to purchase the 51 license software is around the 48 lakh rupees time by time. So there in IRDAS, we have to purchase the IRDAS for 25 lakh rupees. Okay, so this is the software we are using by the normal person who install, just only go to Google browser and search QGIS and install this software and working on the GIS software. So this is freely available for everyone and anyone. And all the working slides and step-by-step slides are available in YouTube. Okay, so these 3 software are mainly used by the GIS community in their work. Some the commercial software and some the freeware software. Okay. Next, any question of anyone on this?
Sir, after the end or after the session termination, we will.
Okay, okay. So next, data integration. As earlier we discussed, data integration, special, no special data. So how we integration? This is our map, and behind you just right click and open this kind of window are there. This is the GIS shape file. In front, you have to see the shapes, and in internal, they have this in the polygon area, perimeter. You have to code up every building, vegetations, everything. Whatever you want, just add the column and add the data. So this is the GIS information are compiled in a GIS software. And some analysis are going on in GIS software. So many persons they are using this intersect, union. If you intersect the 2-3 layers and create a one layer, and if you union 2-3 layers combined with and observe every attribute data in a single layer, so these are going to be covered. These also input data, vegetation, and overlay of soil, and create a single layer. Both the information of vegetation and soil. And some other proximity analysis, network analysis, buffer analysis. Buffer analysis, network analysis, it means you see in our Ola Cape use the network analysis. You giving your own GPS locations, the Ola Cape comes to your platform. Then after you giving the destination and then calculate the route, how much length the area, how much money is required for this traveling of this area. This calculation and this analysis called the network analysis. Our student and GS regularly analysis by this in our own studies. So Ola Cave is generally use this network analysis in their platform and behind the software. Proximity analysis for any distance or any type of density analysis, we use this proximity analysis. Buffer analysis, it means you have to create the buffer. It means the road line, if you want to buffer both sides 20 meters, you don't want to construction anything, so you have to buffer this, and how much building come under this buffer you have to calculate within a minute. So this kind of analysis done by the GIS. And the next one is the 3D analysis. So if you see in our slide, this is the one of the oil field area of this city. So this is all 3D analysis, all networking. This is the transformer, river transformer, electricity generation transformer. So all the buildings are here. The lines, the blue lines, electric lines are there. All building. So you have to generate the 3D analysis on it, on the GIS platform. It's like we generate the building of cities. Now, in all the 1 hour talking, so what is the use of civil engineering on all this purpose? I have to introduce everything about the GIS. Madam also introduced everything about the remote sensing GIS. But in your student, your civil engineer person, how to use all this technique in your own after the degree completion, how they are used in the field. So I am giving the live example in our campus as CPWD use the civil engineering firm of the GIS, remote sensing, and the further analysis. So this is the one of the advantage and uses by the civil engineers, where the civil engineer use the GIS and remote sensing. This is our campus, as you see. So this is our campus. Now this vacant land you see, this is the ongoing project of the academic building. So what they done by the CPWD civil engineers, what they do, they want to do the layout transfer in this place. So what they done the DGPS survey on this. This is the satellite data come from the Google Earth. It means they involve remote sensing. Satellite data come from the Google Earth. Google Earth use the world view data of 0.5 meter resolution. It means you use this image, it means you use the remote sensing. Okay. Then after you use the DGPS. Everybody know that if you transfer the layout, the area of building is 10,000 square meter. So 10,000 square meters buildings column transfer in this area. So what we do, we transfer with the total station, but it takes the time because we need the Z elevations, means Z elevation on this area. So what we do, they do first DGPS survey of the known point because this is the layout available for the CPWD. Then after this point, you see they are the point created by the DGPS. So how to get? You get the DGPS, the X by latitude, Y by longitude, and Z by the mean sea level Z value. So now after the architect or draftsman, they are receive this information of this 4 point and transferred to their layout. This known point layout, they are transferred with the all the information of X, Y, and Z. So what has happened? Now every column have their own X and Y. So the person who DGPS person, the data transferred to their lay person, the architect or civil engineer who received that DGPS data. Then after the DGPS data transferred to the layout of DXF, then this DXF transferred to the on a total station. Now in the field, they receive the X, Y, and Z data in the layout. The total station person and start the working from here. First point taking from here, they add the first point X, Y, and Z. Then after they use the Kogo tool for the column marking, and then after they are marking the whole layout in this area. So what they get X and Y. But after the marking of the every column, they got the Z level. So every column area Z level also come by the survey of the total station. So now you have the X, Y, and Z of every column locations. So now you use the GIS. So GIS, then after this data transferred to the person who add this X and Y data in a Google SketchUp or Revit, then they are giving you the 3D data, 3D surface data of this area. So at the time of the starting of any building, the civil engineer use the remote sensing, GIS, and DGPS on this, transfer the layout on the ground, and they also got the surface analysis, their 3D surface analysis for the area. And then after they are using this data, and cutting and filling is going on their own purpose. So now my presentation is almost over. So these applications are going to use so many persons: base map creation, watershed management, navigation system, traffic and transportation, and everything, property tax assessment, and other things. So this is the application used by different purpose of different specialists. So thank you very much for listening me. So if you have any question, any problem, so you feel free to ask me.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time. Actually, in the chat box, too many questions, but because of the time limitations, I ask a few questions. That what is the image processing, sir?
Image processing means the data come from the satellite. If you want to process, sometimes the data have the error of the fog, or sometimes the data have the problem of the enhancement, some blurry image on some spots. So you use the software and the readily tools available. So you use this tool and enhance your image, and some specific analysis. If you want to NDVI analysis, if you want to clipping, some part of the image. So these different processes are available in ADAS software. So you use in your image and your requirement, you use the different processes on their software. This is the main purpose of the image processing, to enhance your images in your requirement.
Thank you, sir. It will surely added information to our knowledge. Now I hand over the session to our convener, Dr. Sunil Sharma, sir. Am I audible, sir? Sunil, sir? Sir,
Yes,
am I
ma'am.
audible? Yeah, sir. I hand over the
Yes,
session to
yes,
you
yes.
for vote of thanks. Please, sir, proceed.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our student person, Dr. Pramod Dubey, sir, for his valuable inputs and information about the remote sensing and GIS. Thank you very much, sir. I'm also thankful to our yesterday's speaker, Dr. Jyoti Sarup, ma'am. Then I would like to thank the Institute and our Honorable Chancellor, sir. I am also thankful to our Dean Academics, sir, Dr. Sanjeev Gupta, sir, for his endless support and encouragement. Then I would like to thank our technical team. I'm also thankful to all of the faculty members of civil engineering, including HOD Mr. Kapil Soni, for their support for this conference. I convey my sincere thanks to Professor Rachna Bajaj, madam, for her support. And last, I would like to thank all of the students. Thank you all. Over to you, Rachna, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Lastly, but not the least, I am thankful to each and every person who worked hard to this event. Okay, thank you, Pramod sir, Kapil sir,
Okay.
and everyone.
Thank you, Pramod sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Have a good day.